Welcome back to Wolf Guitars and Gear. Today we're going to be talking about overdrive pedals and how to use them. But before we get going, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that you hit the bell so you get all future episodes. We've got a lot of great content coming that you're not going to want to miss. Alright, so last time we talked about boost pedals and how they can be used multiple different ways and just how cool those are. Today we're going to be talking about overdrive. And one of the reasons that we're going to be talking about overdrive is because it's probably one of the most common guitar effects that are out there. So it's important to understand how to use it and some of the major varieties and families that are out there. There's literally thousands of pedals out there that are overdrive pedals that you could spend anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks all the way on up to over $500 for different types of overdrive pedals. Some of them well over even $3,000. $3,000 for an overdrive pedal. It sounds insane, but there's people out there that are more than willing, eager in fact, to pay for it. And we're going to talk about that and some of the different ways that they can be used. So first off, again, understanding the concept of headroom and the boosts that we talked about last time, understand that an overdrive can be used in exactly the same way. A lot of people, in fact, will take the gain on an overdrive pedal and turn it off and just use the volume on the pedal and use that as a boost to push their amp past its point of headroom into clipping to produce its own overdrive in that way. And this will be, while essentially a clean boost, it'll be more of a flavored clean boost because most overdrive pedals will wind up having some tone shaping involved there. Some of them have a tone knob, but even before you get to a tone knob, a lot of them will roll off a lot of the bass frequencies because as you understand the way that an electric guitar sits in the mix, we have the kick drum and the bass on the low end, which kind of takes up a lot of the lower registers of the guitar. Then you have cymbals and vocals which sit on the high end of the mix. So really that mid portion there is what we're talking about, where the guitar tends to sit, where its frequencies aren't being covered up by those other instruments in the low frequencies or the cymbals and the vocals in the high frequency. And so a lot of those lower frequencies get rolled off because there's simply no use for them. It just muddies up the sound of the band and just makes it indistinguishable. So it rolls those off since those are less usable, and it focuses a lot of times on the mid and the higher frequencies, most notably in the mid frequencies, because that's the most important frequency to a guitar, because as we just mentioned, that's where the guitar sits in a mix. And so what are some common overdrive pedals that are out there? There's a lot of different Tubescreamer varieties out there. There's TS9s, there's TS808s, and there's just very slight differences between them, and people will argue over which one is better, this era, that era, which chip. We're just talking about major families right now, so just understand that Tubescreamer is probably the largest category of overdrive pedals out there, and so most people are very familiar with a green overdrive pedal. That's just hugely known in the guitar industry. One of the other huge ones that would be well known would be the Boss SD1, and that has also been known to be in that same Tubescreamer type range of sound. It's a little bit different because it does have a different clipping to it. It's asymmetrical clipping as opposed to the symmetrical clipping of the Tubescreamer. Again, hugely popular. Tons of people have it on the board. Chances are one of those two pedals was probably your first introduction to an overdrive pedal. One of the other huge mythical overdrives that a lot of people will talk about is the Klon Centaur, and that one, like I said, the originals of those run anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 or even more, although there's plenty of clones and other modified varieties of those out there on the market. Hugely popular. Another couple popular models would be the Boss Blues Driver, which kind of has its own thing going on, and also another boutique option that's extremely popular would be the Paul Cochran Timmy, which between the Timmy and the and the Klon, those are a lot of times referred to as a transparent overdrive. They're absolutely fantastic, and they're found on a ton of boards. So those are some major families of overdrive pedals that are out there. So again, how does the overdrive pedal work? Like I said, we've already mentioned that you can use it as a boost, and there's a lot of people that are very famous for doing this. Most notably would be Stevie Ray Vaughan. He was very famous for using two different Tubescreamers, two TS10s a lot of times, that he would turn the gain off and crank the volume on it, and he would use that as his tone, because the Tubescreamer is very well known for having a very pronounced mid hump, and so it would push those mid frequencies that are a lot of times lacking in the Stratocaster, and that was part of his signature sound. And so that's definitely one way to use it. The Klon also has a pronounced mid hump, and that is another way that a lot of people will use that, is to turn the gain down or very low and use that more as a boost than even as an overdrive. And so a lot of times these overdrive pedals are used in conjunction with an amp that's already on the edge of breakup, whether it's used with gain or without gain, to push it past that level of the headroom and into clipping. And the thing to notice about that is that overdrives, while they do in some ways imitate the sound of an amp that's been pushed past that point of headroom, they a lot of times, like I said, are used in conjunction with an amp that's already on the edge of breakup. And so volume is a huge part of the sound of an overdrive, the way that it interacts with that amp. And so that is a key component that you'll want to pay attention to there. And so I think that's one of the things that sets it apart from some of the other types of dirt pedals that are out there, such as distortions and fuzzes, which we'll explore in future episodes. And so, you know, I think that breaking it down into those different families of overdrives that I discussed before, there's a lot of variants and clones, modifications to those circuits that are out there, but those are some of the main circuits that are available, and they're absolutely fantastic. And I encourage you to get out there and try as many different ones as you can, because you'll probably find that you like one certain variety more than another, or you may even find that, you know, when you're playing a Strat, you may like the Tubescreamer, but you're playing a Les Paul and you may prefer the Klon with that. So there's different types that are out there. Make sure you try them and find what's your favorite flavor. Make sure to leave us a comment and tell us what your favorite overdrive pedal is, and we'll see you next week here on Wolf Guitars and Gear.